Hello, everyone. Welcome and happy December. Happy holidays wherever you are calling in around the world. Welcome to the Grail Global Village Community Call. We're so delighted to have you here today, whether you're on the telephone or listening on the web, wherever you happen to be, part of this amazing virtual community that has been steadily building in energy throughout the year. You are so welcome in this space. I hope you can find a comfortable place to settle in for this call and grab yourself a cup of tea and begin to prepare yourself for this bi-monthly gathering that we share together. It's such a special experience, and we have a really amazing, fun speaker set up today with Dale Allen. Some of you have heard her before. She's going to be speaking about the archetypes that shape a woman's life. I'll read her bio in a moment. And first I want to introduce Madeline Marentet, our fearless leader. All of us know her and love her. Welcome, Madeline.
Hey, thanks, Carrie. Thanks, everyone. We're all bundled up here in the northern Ontario region, and we're all looking out our windows with the gentle snow falling at 0 degrees. It's absolutely stunning. And we've got the fire going, and we're all staying nice and toasty warm with our cup of tea, and couldn't wait to get on the call. And Dale was just in the back room, and what we call the green room, and was saying how the energy has been building for her on this call, and I've been feeling it too. I cannot wait to hear Dale. Dale is an amazing speaker. If any one of you saw her, she was the official opening speaker for the very first year at the Grail Lady Fair, and what an opening it was. She's an actress. I'll let Carrie talk more about it. A one-woman show who has an incredible, powerful, probably one of the most powerful messages I've ever heard from a female speaker. Very pertinent to today and for women who really maybe have a little understanding of how women have been written out of history in the past. So Dale brings an incredible knowledge and expertise, and I'm sure you're going to find this absolutely fascinating. Carrie, I'll let you take the mic and introduce Dale. Can't wait to share Dale with everybody. So go ahead.
Dale has been described as a living goddess, which she is, a bright light, a messenger, a teacher, a storyteller who was born to be listened to. She has brought her talents to scores of audiences nationwide, from Kauai to Dubai, with her one-woman show, In Our Right Minds, a celebration of women, the sacred feminine, and the right brain. Dale's a veteran of corporate and commercial communications. Her extensive resume includes hundreds of voiceover, on-camera, and live presentation projects. Some of the most quality-conscious companies, such as BMW, General Electric, and Canon, have chosen her to represent their brands. She's an accomplished lecturer, workshop facilitator, playwright, and theatrical actress. Described as having the energy of a Cape Canaveral liftoff, she thoroughly engages and inspires her audience, which ranges from highly educated corporate leaders to teenage girls seeking their place in the world. Woohoo, Dale!
Carrie and Madeline and everyone, I am so pleased to be here. And yes, I started to feel the energy for this call building, well, since we initially discussed it, but really kicked in at noon yesterday. Noon is my Eastern time zone here. So 24 hours ago, it started to really build. Madeline, I love the visual that you just created for us of the gentle snow falling 0 degrees in Canada. Here I am in Connecticut, and it's finally a bit colder today in December. And even if you're tuning in from Tampa, Florida, I want to invite you into a space and a place of stillness. It is winter time in our northern hemisphere. We're going to be talking about archetypes. And the archetypes that shape a woman's life, the three that are usually depicted for women are maiden, mother, and crone. There's another image, the fiery autumn goddess, fiery autumn queen, that I will also talk about. But it's interesting, you would think chronologically, because these archetypes can indeed fit a woman's chronological life, maiden, childhood, mother, mothering, reproductive years, and crone being elder years. But I really want to drive home that the archetypes are alive. wherever it is that you're tuning in, I invite you to come into that dream space, that space that is timeless, that space where characters in novels live, archetypes live and breathe. And we're going to meet up with them now. Within our own psyche, the archetypes are always available. They are always there. We just tend to focus and take the gifts from certain ones at certain times. But it's very important that we understand them because they offer us such insight, pathways, wisdom to understand where we are in life. And we'll miss that if we don't glean their wisdom. An archetype, just as an understanding, a definition, an archetype is an inward image in the human psyche that exerts a powerful influence on the nature of an individual personality and in turn on the larger culture. So an archetype is an inward image in the human psyche that exerts a powerful influence on the nature of an individual and then in turn on the larger culture. Looking at these archetypes that offer us a model and a pathway, I'm not going to begin with the maiden, which would fit the sort of logical, chronological order of things. But we aren't going down a logical path here. We're going into that space that is beyond logic, beyond time, not sequential. We're going into the world, into the dimension of archetypes. I want to focus on the crone because I believe that the crone is probably the least well understood. Perhaps we just plain fear her because our culture so prizes youth, productivity, so prizes our manifestations in life that we look at the crone sometimes and say, well, can't we just skip that one? How about I don't think I want to go meet her. But the fact is that she exists and has existed within us since the day we were born. And she's so powerful. And one of the greatest things that we can teach our children, and our children I don't mean the ones that are biological only. We all have children in our lives. Those that we can teach along the way, we need to let them know that life is a series of deaths. Life is a progression of disappearances. Life is an experience of you build it, you structure it, you count on it, you delude yourself into thinking you've arrived somewhere, and then it all goes away. But there are certain threads that remain, and it's those threads, that thread to our inner core that is constant and timeless. And that's where we all want to go. That's where we need to connect to. Because if we don't, we feel that sense of the shambles that fall when our constructs fall. Looking at the crone, and again, Madeline, I love how you talked about the snows. The thing that I like about the picture of a winter landscape, and even again if you're in Austin, Texas right now, looking and considering a winter landscape, it's that barrenness. It's that point where you don't see the fruits and the flowers. You don't see all of your creations. You don't see the garlands. You don't see the maypole. You don't see anything but that bleak white landscape and the trees silhouetted against the sky. And when you come to a point like that in your life, to a point where your constructions have fallen, and this can happen when you graduate high school, when you first go to college. Funny thing, adults look back and they say, oh, but gosh, their whole lives are ahead of them. But if you recall, that's a time of a kind of death. Deaths happen even during childhood. So I really want to make sure that we understand that this is something that happens throughout life. When you get to a point where that which you constructed, that you put all of your efforts into, your eggs into that basket, these were your plans, your dreams, your hopes, the things that you built, the ways that you came to define yourself and define your life, and you get to this point, you go, what happened? What happened? I'm standing here now, and I can't see any of it. I don't know where to go. I can't see the path. It's covered with snow. I don't know anything here. And it's very still. And it's very silent. It's in that moment where we stand in the silence and we stand in the not knowing. And we stand in this space of that which was familiar is gone, and I can't fast forward to spring. If we try to fast forward to something that we immediately fill the void with, it is false, it will fall. If we have the courage to stand in the stillness and simply look around us, there's this interesting invitation that occurs. And it's an invitation to take us deep down within ourselves. If you imagine turning your focus and your energy into the vital organs of your own body, it becomes a metaphor for going down, deep down beneath the snows, down into the groundedness of our own being. Underneath the cold, frozen ground, there's a cave, and it's lit orange by a small fire, and it's tended by this very ancient woman, this wise woman with long white hair, and she tends this fire. And when she looks at us and our eyes meet, we see such timelessness. She's so very ancient, but she's timeless at the same time. She has that, when you look into a baby's eyes, and a baby is, as they say, fresh from the lap of God, and you look into those eyes, and you're taken completely out of the earthbound realm, and you're brought into that place of eternity through a baby's eyes. It's the same thing with this ancient woman's eyes. You go into this place of timelessness. And as you sit with her, she's very quiet. She makes no judgments about your life. She makes no judgments about the life that you constructed and the one that has fallen. All that she cares about is whether or not you're living with your own authenticity. Did you make mistakes? She asks you. And you say, of course, I did. She smiles. She's very pleased that you have, because you have revealed to her that the mistakes were yours, that it was your efforts to live in alignment with your soul all along the way. It was because you poured your life, your love into something, and maybe it isn't there anymore, but you did it. And it made you stronger, and you learned. She's very happy that you're living your life, that you're doing your best, that you're coming from a place of love and learning and pain even. And as you sit with her in this place of stillness, and you just take account for where you are, and you just breathe for a while in the not knowing in the winter. And I believe that this is a metaphor for the large collective on our planet right now. Collectively, we just don't know what's going to happen or where we're all headed. We suspect that something new wants to be born. In the wisdom of the feminine tradition, it must be birth, growth, death, renewal. The birth cannot come until the death happens. In the tradition that we learned in the logical linear fashion, we wanted to start the story at the start, at the birth, as if nothing preceded it. But in the feminine wisdom, it's a circle. It's an ever-turning circle. Birth, growth, death, renewal. Birth, growth, death, renewal. We know collectively that the way that we have been is not going to stay. It's not going to continue. Things are crumbling. Things are falling apart. But we can sense on the deepest level inside that we didn't come here for failure. We didn't come here for ultimate destruction. We came here because inside of us, our soul, there's a seed, that each one of us holds this seed as co-creators of a new paradigm on this planet. But the only way we can do it is if we're willing, right now, all of us, in the space of stillness, not knowing, quite suspended, but it's also very alive. Because if we just look around at what is, we're looking through these eyes of authenticity. If we don't employ an immediate storyline to fill the gap and make us comfortable and make it look like something that we knew before because it's just too painful to not know, if we resist that, if we resist the culture that tells us, look, what are you doing? I need to know what you're doing. What are you producing? What can you show me? Because if you can't show me something you're producing, you don't exist. But I do. I'm breathing. I'm here. And you're here in this space of stillness. If we're willing to hold to that, even though it's painful, it can be. We just breathe with it. We open up the space as we look into this ancient woman's eyes. She reveals to us that she holds the key, holds the seed to the bloom of our destiny. You see, we start with the crone because it is through the crone that we come back to the maiden. Now, in our way of moving through this, in fact, Madeline and Carrie, I'll make some spaciousness here. I'm following this path, but I also want you to know that there's openness here. If you'd like to come in, or shall I just continue on?
You've got me mesmerized, so you keep going.
Okay, thanks, Madeline.
And brilliant. And as you keep going, I just will let everyone know we're all captivated. If you do feel at some point you want to say something, you can always press number 3 on your handset, and then when we have a moment, we'll pop right in so we can hear your voices too. So thank you for that, Dale. Yes, we're ready.
Okay, great. You know, there's a little something I'm actually going to just speak as the crone for a moment. Just going to speak as her. It's interesting how she's so much a part of my life right now, and I know that the most painful thing I do is delude myself into thinking I'm having a solo experience here, because I'm really not. The moment I think I'm on my own, the moment I think that whatever pains or disturbances I'm feeling are mine and mine alone, that's a great falsity. It's a great trick. Because I know that my whole subterranean psychic landscape is shared by all of you, just as I share yours. And I really want to say that because I know that collectively, because of these times that we're in, there's a lot of fear, there is sorrow, also a lot of courage. And I'm going to just ask you to do something. If you're ever in a moment, that's funny to me. When you are next in a moment of that pain and discomfort of not knowing, understand that I'm right here with you. And when I say I mean we. We are all in this together. You are never, ever, ever alone. We all share this planet at this moment for a reason. The miracle of our all incarnating at this moment in time. We have waited lifetimes for this lifetime. I look around and I look at the human beings around me and I say, oh, you got here at the same time I did. What a miracle that in all the time on this planet we're sharing this current moment. You count, you matter, you're critical to what wants to be created. Know that and know it well. I will speak as the crone. Look to me. I am winter. I am the stillness. I am the drawing inward. Look to me. I am the winter of your life. I am not boisterous with newness and growth. I am not the grand flower festivals of your life or the overflowing harvest of your efforts. In me are the many deaths of your days, for nothing can grow if it does not shed what must die. Would you reject me? Would you make all efforts to eternally produce in a great show of fruits and flowers? It is a hollow pursuit, for the field must lay still under the snows of winter. Fallow some years, even as the summer and autumn come and go. Fallow, in order to be replenished for sowing. Look to me. I am that part of you that in wisdom dies, in folly clings to the light of the familiar. I am below the surface, deep down in darkness. Look to me and do not be deceived, for under the cold, cold snow lies your truth, your destiny, your soul. For it is I who cradles the seeds of your innocence. It is I who in time unfolding encourages the seeds to sprout. It is I who brings forth the bloom of your destiny. So she hands us this seed. And as we look into the seed, we see an image of our own innocence. And when I say innocence, I mean that spark, that newborn spark on the planet. When I say innocence, I mean before the world brought in its templates, its definitions, its limitations, its boxes, its barriers, its no's, its rules. Before the creative life force, the totality of all we are, the very universe itself came to be squished into something so tiny that we nearly forgot our majesty. We find our fullness. We go back to that place that is eternally creative, that newborn spark, the way a baby's cells divide so fast and furious in growth, ever renewing, ever growing. We return. You know, in our childhoods, everybody has somewhere a remembering of that spark. No matter how dark or dismal a childhood may have been, some of us remember nearly an entire childhood of support and love and support and nurturance and creativity and things. For some people, it was that one magical summer. For some people, it was one tiny moment that reminded them of who they are. But once you see it and you feel it, it never goes away. It's there, and we all have it. It is our duty in this moment, for the crone has just delivered us. We must protect that vital force, that girl child within. You know, it's very helpful to imagine, just see an image of yourself at whatever age you might choose. You might be a newborn infant. You might be 18 months old. You might be a 10-year-old girl. But see yourself. Make room for you. Go back in time, see yourself, and be your own incredible loving force. Be whatever it is that you wished for as a child. That's someone who would come and cradle you and protect you from all of the pains that you might have felt. There is such power because remember, in the world of archetypes, in the world of the psyche, in the world of the soul, there is no time. If logically, linearly, in your life, you look at your childhood and see pain or hurt, in the truth of the matter, you can go to that place timelessly and give your child girl self everything she needs right now. Bring her onto your lap and laugh and hold each other and giggle and feel that warmth and that beauty, that sweet innocence, that creativity. There was a time I came to understand this whole issue of a girl that was alive inside of me when it was my last, in fact, death period, I would say, when the crone was in my world. This would be about, well, I guess it was 1998, yes, when it was major sort of death time. And all of my structures were falling, and everything that I was defining my life with just wasn't working. Oh, and it was so painful. But I was at a gathering. It was a party up on the water in Connecticut, beautiful town of Mystic, Connecticut. And everybody was still sleeping in the morning, but I got up very early and I went out and I walked along the dewy grass. It was very, very foggy that morning. And I walked down to the docks, and I walked out onto the dock. It was extremely still that morning. And as I sat on the dock, I held onto my knees, and I put my chin on my knees, and I looked down at my feet, and the water was behind them. And I had this, wasn't trying. I simply had a sense memory. I think I must have sat that way many times when I was about 11 years old. And suddenly I was in my 11-year-old girl-child body. I was 11. It was a sense memory. I looked at my feet. They looked just as they did when I was 11 because your feet really don't change too much. So there I was. And suddenly I could feel, it was right at the start of the summer, the same kind of mind I had as a child. Oh, it's the summer. I've got the whole summer. What do I want to do? What do I want to do this summer? Do I want to make a book? Do I want to make a dollhouse? Do I want to, I want to make a play. That's what I want to do. I'm going to write a play. Now, in that moment, at that time, I had been really having a hard time because I was trying to fit in with the world. I was trying to find what particular niche market would work best for me in a most successful way. What would be the bottom line? What would be the checks and balances? I was putting myself in such an awful, awful box. But in that moment, I realized that I needed to write a play for sheer joy. I needed to do it as a promise to my 11-year-old self. I realized that she was just as alive as I was, that chronological time is an illusion. That girl was looking at her future, was looking at somebody who could live a life of joy and creativity, who wouldn't say, who do you think you are to write a play? Who do you think you are to have these thoughts? Who do you think you are to think you can teach? Who do you think? She counted on me to be able to keep on creating, which is a divine right. It is a birthright. And I knew I needed to write a play just for her. In this particular story, I did write the play. And the only reason I was able to finish it so happily was because I didn't care. It wasn't for anybody but me, and fun. And the play was, I did put it on. I put it on at a local theater. And then, oh, by the way, it was a big success. It was a play about the goddess. But that was an oh, by the way. That was not the destination. But it was interesting how coming from a place of authenticity and soul, and as a promise to my girl child, that was the path imbued with soul. In this moment that we share of unknown, when you step from here, it goes from the crone to the maiden. But understand, the maiden requires requires you to move only with innocence, only with truth, only with soul alignment. You have come fresh from the universe to the planet. Nothing has impinged upon your fullness and your divinity. The world is at your feet. The world is your playground. The steps you must take coming from the death of the crone into the innocence of the maiden are steps that come straight from your soul. They come from love. They come from playfulness. They come from a belief in magic, wonder, and miracles. When we move from that space, all of us together, imagine what we can do. Imagine what we can create. You know in your heart of hearts, that there's a dimension, there's a place, there's a possibility for this thing that we call heaven, this place of peace, this place of you're a divine soul, I'm a divine soul, this place of namaste, this place of all the children are fine and happy and cared for and loved. Do you remember as a child, of course you would always believe and want to know that all the children are safe. That's the truth. Heaven is not someplace elsewhere. Heaven is what we co-create when we come from our innocence, our birthright, our divine self. When we are willing now, and the fire, the ancient woman, the ancient crone, because things are still kind of just dying away at the moment. But while they're dying away, that seed is just gaining energy as well. This is an incredible time we all share. The most potent and powerful thing I have ever had the privilege to experience, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. This is the one. This is the one we've been waiting for. I can feel right now, I can feel all of you. I can feel this sense of what you've all come here to do and create and offer in that beauty and in that innocence. And it brings me such a wave of childlike exuberance, childlike excitement, childlike wonder. What will it all look like? I don't know, but it is good. It is good. Just need to be willing to stay where we are right now and breathe. There's a wonderful poem I'm actually going to share. It's by Mary Oliver. There's such power in words. You do not have to be good. And when she says good in this sense, she means that kind of prescribed good. Follow the rules, young lady. Just who do you think you are? That'll be enough from you. Those rules, that kind of good. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Thank you, Mary Oliver, for understanding so well what this place is that we are all collectively in at this time. There is another prayer that I wish to share, and then I'd really like to open things up, because we're really just one thing here, aren't we? This is my Our Mother prayer. Our Mother, who art within us, each breath brings us to you. Thy wisdom come, thy will be done, as we honor your presence within us. Each day you give us all that we need. Your abundance calls us to give and receive all that is loving and pleasurable. You are the courage that moves us to be true to ourselves, and we act with grace and power. We relax into your cycles of birth, growth, death, renewal. Out of the womb, the darkness, the void, comes new life. For you are the mother of all things. Your body is the sacred earth and our bodies. Your love nurtures and unites us all, now and forevermore. You know, I just realized too, because I don't want to leave her out, the mother archetype. I'll just say a couple of words on her. She comes after the maiden, and my sense is that she, and again, chronologically it would be the time of biological creation of children, the creation of families, the bringing of children into our lives, but it's beyond children, and it's certainly beyond biological fertility. I want to be very, very clear about that. Because the mother is about anything that we create. She's about bringing our offspring into the world, our creations. She is about what it is that we manifest here on the earth. It's when we align with the principle of manifestation, when we align with the goddess and manifest. That is the mother. And as women, we nurture so much. We nurture not just children. We nurture that which we love dearly. That is the mothering energy. And there's something about that fertility. Fertility is an energy. When I was trying to conceive a child, those were some very dark days for me, because it was one miscarriage after another. It was the trying, the gaining, the losing. It was looking around, and at that point I was looking upward somewhere to some being that I perceived surely has to be in charge of this situation, and why was I being, quote, dealt the cards I was being dealt, and why would children come over there and not come over here? It was so raw, painful. And I realized in that experience, after so much pain and sorrow, that my fertility must lay elsewhere. That was my saving thought. And I began to say, I am the most fertile woman on the earth. I am so fertile. I am creativity itself. And I let good works come through me. That actually takes me back to the time of writing the play. And it's interesting, because when the play closed, and I was thinking how I might take it on to the other theaters and so forth, I discovered I was pregnant. And that particular pregnancy lasted through to the birth of my daughter. But I can tell you this, the level of healing I had and the ability to say, I am the most fertile woman on the planet. And when I say that, it's a childlike way of saying the bestest ever. Not a taking from anyone else, I hope you understand. It's just a childlike way of talking. That my healing had come. And I believe that that healing has stayed with me and would have stayed with me no matter how life unfolded itself. Fertility is an energy, and we all have it. And we all have good works to create here. And I'd like to open the line.
Wow, Dale, as usual, you are a brilliant wonder. You wove an amazing web of the wintertime crone for all of us. So I'm going to open up the line here for Madeline to speak a little bit and let all of you absorb what you heard from Dale. And if you would like to share a comment, how did this wash over you? We'd love to hear a few thoughts. So Madeline, I'll let you start while everyone is kind of contemplating, and when you would like to share something with all of us, just press number 3 on your handset, and I will open up your mic. Go ahead there, Madeline.
Well, I feel like I've just been taken on this most incredible magic carpet ride, and I'm sure everyone else is sort of feeling wafting in that same beautiful embrace. And that's how I feel. And once in a while, I at the very beginning, I started to go into my head, but it didn't last. I knew I needed to stay in the heart center. And as I did, I started to reach into the depths of these archetypes within, realizing that, yes, I have gained much understanding around the archetypes as I've lived through my own several decades of life. But it's the acknowledgement of self, acknowledgement of the existence of these attributes within each of us. Thank you so much, Dale. That was very powerful.
It was. I think everyone is sitting here stunned, but I would like to open up the phone lines now, and there's quite a few of you who are listening here on the call today. So if any of you would like to introduce yourselves and chat, we would love to hear from you. I'm going to open up the line right now for Mary Patricia.
Oh, thank you, Carrie. I'm looking at my silly puppy dog wanting to go outside, and I was thinking, how can I possibly shift this phone to my cell phone off of my computer without losing a word? Because the words that have been shared today have been so incredibly powerful. This has been the most profound call I've listened to in years, and I am so grateful for the timing during this full moon cycle that we have this opportunity, and I want to thank Madeline and Carrie for keeping the Grail Global Village so wonderful. Thank you.
Beautiful. I'm going to open up the line now for Judith Onley. Hey, hi, Judith. How are you?
Hey, Carrie. Thank you very much. I'm great. And Dale, thank you. That was very beautiful, as Madeline said. You took us on a journey. So thank you for sharing in your beautiful storytelling way.
Dale, if you could just tell us a little bit about this beautiful DVD that you have available, that would be great.
I would love to. The play that I wrote, the one that I spoke about, was called Dancers of the Dawn. And what ended up happening was I became a mother, and I was home with an infant and then a small child. And I wanted to continue the work and the message. And it's impossible for me. It's impossible to not have that creative flow coming through in one way or another. And I believe that that's true for everybody. so I ended up taking the play and making it a one-woman show called In Our Right Minds, as in the right hemisphere of the brain, as in the side that is the creative, intuitive intelligence, poetry, music, metaphor, art, synthesis, non-time-bound, the one that connects to others, the hemisphere that understands the we, the collective, the energetic field that we all share, as opposed to the I, the ego, the solo, which would be more the left hemisphere of the brain. It is a journey of the goddess, because if we're looking at the right hemisphere, that would be called the feminine gatherer, nurturer side of men and women. It is the side of humanity that is coming forward once again as the feminine wisdom returns to our planet. It is part of men and women. So you will glean an understanding of the history of the goddess before alphabetic literacy took over, before the beginning of the religions that we now know around the world. Before this time, God was a woman. In the beginning, there was the goddess, and she was the force, the creative force behind all things. So I invite you to, I'm very happy to share a DVD. They're also for sale on my website, which is inourrightminds.com. But it is a professionally produced DVD of one of my performances, and it is the information has nothing to do with me now. The information that is shared in that piece is important to understand, to visit. It will allow you a certain kind of liberation from thought forms that we hold in our collective that can really hold us behind. It will restore to you information that you need to really get in touch with this ancient feminine wisdom that is returning to our planet.
Beautiful. So everybody be sure to take that down, inourrightminds.com, so you can check out Gail's amazing website. And so I'm going to actually announce our winner. We took our poll, and so we took a random selection of all of you who are newer to the Grail Village. We want to welcome all of you so much. Thank you for being here, and we do periodically offer prizes, which is so much fun. So today our random pick to receive a free copy of Dale's DVD is Christine McMulkin.
Dale, thank you so much. I am in this space between what was and what is yet to be. And so I very much, all your words very much resonated with me, and I greatly appreciate the beautiful sharing that you offered us this afternoon. So I thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Take care.